The canvas black with whispers gold, stories untold, secrets unfold, diamonds scatter where the shadows sleep, infinite skies, a promise to keep, beyond the lights where the stars collide, a universe vast where wonders hide, above our heads a cosmic dance, an endless dream, a fleeting galaxies were like painted streams, brushing the edges of our dreams. Planets hum their silent tune, chasing the sun, kissing the moon. We look but don't see, we forget to untamed. Every spark of fire unclaimed, hidden glory just out of sight. A quiet roar in the endless night. Beyond the lights where the stars collide, a universe vast where wonders hide. Above our heads, a cosmic dance, an endless dream, a fleeting shade, a fleeting
Well, good evening, and look at us go. We're going again. I'm going to give this a shot tonight. We're going to see what we can do. I'm pretty excited about this tonight. I've already got a beautiful object in here now. This is the Horsehead Nebula. Where is the Horsehead? It's right below Alnitak, which is the leftmost star in Orion's belt. You have Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka, right? It's actually Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka going up like that. And that's what where this is. This is, I'll show you in our planetarium view. If we center this up, there's the belt of Orion, Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka. And those three stars are there. And down below it is this little guy right here. This is the Horsehead Nebula. Yeah, and we're checking it out right now. Our telescope's at all kinds of wacky angles, so it's not going to be the same way you see it on charts all the time. This should be, if we were right side up, this would be the other way around, but doesn't matter. We're still just capturing the image, and it's all good. So we've only got 3 frames stacked here, and already we're seeing some really cool detail. I want to welcome you guys. Welcome. Sam S was the first one. So cool. Nice to see you, Sam. Michael Hedrick, followed by Sally Forth, and Lori at DLP. How you doing, Lori? Or LDP, sorry. What's the LDP mean? And if you get a chance, just let me know. And Dagger Spells with us. Hey, Dagger, how you doing? Kathy Messick's with us. Kathy, I hear you're going to be with Karen Modal when you go out to Arizona. That's pretty cool. And we have Purple Stricker. What's going on, man? Nice to see you from Hickory, North Carolina. Excellent. So I just decided kind of last minute, I'm going to stream tonight. Why not? You know, Rockstar's with us. Hey, Rock. I'm going to try and bring that dark level down a little so we can get some more detail. Yeah, it looks a little fuzzy in here. That's because we're stacking images. We have 5 stacked. You can see the stack down there, right there, 5. And these 5 images that are stacked, what's happened is they're aligned and stacked on top of each other. So we have an image sandwich, and that image sandwich is very helpful to us because as we stack more images on top of each other, well, what that does for us is it allows us to remove a lot of the noise that we see in the imagery. And the noise going away is a very good thing, because then you can see subtle details, like you can already see under here wisps in the horse head, which are kind of interesting, right? I mean, right there, you see those wisps right there? Those are cool. There's a wisp right here, and there's a star right there. Okay, and there's several stars inside the horse head which are going to make themselves evident as we move forward. And yes, I dragged my email address around with me just there, but there's a star right there in the nose of the horse's head right there. There's another one that's making itself clear right about here. You're going to see that in a little bit. And there's more up in there, and you'll notice there's already a light kind of gray top here, that's actually just reflected starlight. This is not what we call a reflection nebula, which is a nebula created by the scattering of the blue light of stars. Okay, this down here, what you see right here, this just out of frame, this is a reflection nebula right nearby, which is actually, if we could move over into that a little more, it's really got a very interesting architecture inside of it, and I'm going to show you that, I think, after we take a few here. So we'll do that. We're going to do that. And let's see. Let me see if I can color correct this. There you go. Look at that. Much better. Okay. All right. And we're getting some wind. You can see we have 7 frames captured and 2 have been rejected. But I'm actually not using this right now because this filter is not doing the best. So if it can't align them because of wind, then I reject the frame, so we don't get dashes for stars and ruin the image, you know. And we are guiding over here. This is our guiding program right here. Typically I'll put that up here if we're gonna have everything on here at once. Okay, that's a very bright star in the field. Okay, and let's see. Just do this. Yeah. Yeah. And we have C. Castaneda. Hello there. How are you? Welcome to the chat and welcome to SkyTour livestream. I don't remember seeing you here before, but that's okay. I'm in the state of Connecticut in the United States, and the observatories that we're seeing here, this observatory with this telescope in it is 2,600 miles away from me. It's a telescope we put in Arizona, and we have 2 in Arizona. I'm leaving next Tuesday to go out there and get our original telescope and convert it over to this style of operation, so that we will be able to have our wide field system be literally probably 500% more reliable than it is now. So that's pretty cool. So I'm enjoying this. This is good. The horse head's looking beautiful. Look at those filaments now in there. You see that? Those filaments are now very, very pronounced, very, very obvious. The stars are nice, tiny little pinpoints like they should be. I focused before you guys got here because why not? You know? Yeah, this is cool. Yes, sirree. Lizard Dance Productions. Ah, thanks, Lori. I didn't know what that meant. That's cool. I immediately thought of one of those lizards that runs on the water, you know? Yeah. Rascally Rabbit's with us. Hey, Rascally, what's going on? Oh, it's their old music business name, Lori. Okay. Cool. Well, those of you that haven't actually subscribed to us, just go to contactskytourlive.org and go to the YouTube page, or just go to the YouTube page where you found this stream and select subscribe. Click the bell so you can get notified when we go live. It'd be cool. Some people just find us, you know, offhand, and they say, hey, I'm gonna go check it out, and then they say things like, how did I not know you guys exist? Well, we have 2 telescopes in Arizona. This is the Benson telescope here. I share the mountain with 9 other professional astronomers. I'm a professional astronomer. That's what I got my degree in. See? Nerd. Oh, wait. I don't look like a nerd yet. Here you go. Okay. Now I'm a nerd. See? Glasses. Nerdy glasses. That's me. And I teach astronomy this way, and I do talks at conferences all over the world, and I really enjoy astronomy. It really tickles my fancy, and you guys are here because you also think that it's something that's amazing, and I like that, you know. So, and Carmen Castaneda, thank you for, I forgot your first name. I think you may have been here before. I remember your name, Carmen. So nice to have you with us. All right, Michael Hedrick says, Mark, do we know what made the specific shape of the horse's head? Well, the actual shape of the horse head is driven by many factors. Among them are stellar winds, winds from other stars nearby, winds from inside the nebula, which might be pushing dust around, because this is dust we're looking at right here. Okay, this is actually all dust here. All right, and it looks black, but if you look at this top part, you can see it's actually a little lighter, and I can actually let me actually make that more pronounced. Hold on. There you go. So by adding a little bit of a processing, you can see that lighter area. This is dark dust. All of this is dust. This is not empty space here, guys. This is dust, right? And it's mingled with hydrogen gas, which is what this red area is all here, okay? And it actually silhouettes the horse's head. Without it, we'd have a tough time seeing the horse's head, okay? So this dust is shaped by the winds that are inside the nebula, by stars that are hiding in here that you may not even be able to see. And that dust pushes outward from stellar winds. And so the stellar winds of these younger stars in this region, because this entire region is a giant molecular cloud and stellar nurseries, and so these winds will push dust and gas around. If you notice really carefully, you notice right here in this region here, you notice how this is sort of like lines. It's like a linear streaks you're seeing here. Okay, it's more pronounced if I had only this in the view, but that's actually because of stellar winds that are pushing that gas into thin spindles, and then that gas is then of course excited to glow. That's why it's doing this. This is hydrogen. Hydrogen is characteristically this color red, right? It's called hydrogen alpha, or H2, which means ionized hydrogen. A little note on nomenclature and naming of things. When we say H2, it means Roman numeral 2. So H Roman numeral 2. Okay? And that means singly ionized hydrogen. Now, you can't have doubly ionized hydrogen because hydrogen only has one electron, and only one electron can be ionized at a time. And we only have one electron, so you only can ionize once. So, but then you'll say, well, why the Roman numeral 2? If it's supposed to be ionized once, shouldn't it just be a Roman numeral 1? Logically, you'd think so, but as luck would have it, there is a full nomenclature for atoms, and so that nomenclature includes the base state, a state where the atom has all its electrons in it. So hydrogen 1 is a hydrogen proton, okay, with a hydrogen electron orbiting the proton, as we say, okay. And so that's the base state, and that's H1, Hi, the Roman numeral 1. So H2 is singly ionized hydrogen, and we'll see oxygen that gets doubly ionized, all right, later on. And doubly ionized hydrogen, or oxygen rather, is sort of a teal blue color, and that means 2 electrons bounce off the atom, and when they come back in, they give off light. When the hydrogen electron comes back into the atom after being bounced off, it gives up light via the energy that it acquired on the way out of the atom. Now, when we say doubly ionized oxygen, you might think, how do we show that? Is it an O1, an O2, or an O3? Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 3. Some of you might be thinking the right answer. It's O3, because O1 is the base state. Singly ionized oxygen would be O Roman numeral 2, right? And doubly ionized would be O3. Yeah, confusing. But guess what? It's actually very helpful when we look at these things, and to talk about it would mean that you actually can learn a little bit about the chemistry of the universe, which is kind of cool. Toner low is Toner Low says, this is the closest I've ever been to a classroom. I'll take it. And it's free. Rascally Rabbit says, O3 is ozone. Yeah, that's different. See, that's O number 3. It's not O3, like I'll write in the chat here. It's not this. Okay. It's that O3 means something else. That O3 means 3 oxygen atoms. It doesn't mean ionization. So O3 with Roman numerals means that 2 of the oxygen electrons have been bounced off the atom. That's the difference. I know. Rules, rules, rules. I'm here to just see some pretty pictures. Okay. Well, you're going to get those too. Now, you'll notice these curves, red, green, and blue. These are the response curves for the sensor that's taken in these images. And if I color correct them, you'll see that the red curve will be moved a little bit. Okay, it's kind of shifted a tiny bit. And most of the data is in the red, so that's why this is the broad curve here. Some of the data is in the green and the blue, and that's corresponding to all 3 of these colors making this dark color here. And so, that said, we're looking at a very interesting area. If you notice, the back of the horse head has now become clear. Look at this line all the way up. See that? That's a very subtle reflection. Very subtle reflection. And that actually is something that we haven't ever seen with our telescopes until tonight. This is a beautiful night. Oh my gosh, I'm just blown away. Very detailed in here. You got a star right in here, very, very tiny star. We got a star here in the snout right there. We got a star right there. Okay, there's another one up here, right there, and another one right there. So we're seeing a lot of the stars, and so I can zoom in a little bit on this. If I zoom in too far, well then it's going to just get all pixelated on us because we're going too far in. All right, but you can see the definitive colors in there, really pretty. You know, it's a little too green right now, so we have to kind of just take some of the green out to make it more actual, like this, and that's okay. And the thing is, in the early days of astronomy, this is how they saw it. This is what they saw. This is it. They didn't know. They knew this is a very pretty picture of it in and of itself. And in black and white books, this is what you'd see for the Horsehead Nebula. You'd see this picture, right? However, nowadays we can add color. And here is very little color, and here is the maximum amount of color. Really pretty. Very nice. And Corin Lewis is with us. Corin Lewis from Barbados, how are you? Nice to see you, brother. Good to have you come in. Tim F. is here. Nice to see you as well. Corin and Tim, we're doing the Horsehead Nebula, as you can see right here. But I can add the annotation, I think. And it should tell us exactly what we got. We have that. And we'll save this image with the annotation as well. Actually, I probably should have set the target name first. Now it's going to complain when I go to save the image. And I'll say, yeah, my mistake. Yeah. Okay. And then I can save it again. And it will go to the right place. See, it's in the Horsehead Nebula. In the captures folder, it goes by date, so it's 1/14/2026, and it has the name of the object, which is the Horsehead Nebula, the time, and then the stack, which is the stack of images. Now, if you don't want to play with the astronomical file formats, like most people don't, those are FITS files, then you get this file, and this is the PNG file, and it's the same place, and when you click on it, this is what you get. Okay, so this is the image that's currently right now going up to our server, and so that'll be available for you to go check out at skytourlive.org in literally less than 30 seconds. So we actually have a really good server set up. So we're catching all these things and getting them up there very quickly. So we don't lose anything. I have backups on my machine as well, should any of it get lost for some reason. We had a tragic event happen with our data from the last 5 years. My ID in the database was corrupted and lost, and every bit of the data that I had captured for 5 years is now gone. The raw files, the files that I would capture, the data has been recorded. It's on my machine. I have it here locally, but if I to upload it is just a chore because it's terabytes of data. It's many terabytes, so I have to worry about that, you know. So that said, we're still looking here. We're getting some wind or whatever, so it's not able to. Yeah, see, we lost our star, didn't we? No, we didn't. We got it. We still have our star. Let me change our guiding parameters. There's the star. You can see it. That doesn't affect how well it guides. But we're gonna just see if we can grab this 20th shot. No, it's not gonna let us. That's okay. It says it could not align, and I totally get it. Yeah. That's okay. We have more than enough. I'm going to pull this in, make it a little darker, darken the background. Oh, look at that, huh? That's really pretty. Let's see if I turn off our unsharp mask, which is a data sharpening tool. Turn it back on. You can see a difference maybe. Yeah, you can see how that gets sharper. Oh yeah, very nice. Cool. All right. One thing I want to try right now is I'm going to go in to the cameras that you see up here. I'm going to take this camera that's right above me right here, and I'm going to go into its settings, and I'm going to turn off the infrared light so it'll go a little dark. That's better. All right, and now when I come out, I'm gonna move the camera's view to the right, and I want to show you something. I was right. See that? That's another telescope sticking up right there. That's the person in the building next to us. There's a row of 10 buildings down this plateau. You can see we're pretty high up, and this particular guy is doing photometry work. And that means the study of the brightness of stars. And we're just doing some just beautiful pictures. I want to do pretty pictures. I think that's a great idea. All right, so we will leave it at this. This will be up on the server. And I'm going to go back into what we call our low light mode, which is just a short exposure, but we can see the detail. Okay, let me get rid of the stack here. Oh, we got that. So let me just save that. Save that file. Okay. Good. All right. And so now we have our 20. And this is the horse head. Now let's go into our planetarium and let's check out something else. Actually, I think it's worth doing. It's pretty interesting. I want to show you the star that is going to be going supernova soon. Let's go check out Betelgeuse. Yeah, there's Betelgeuse. It's pulling down into the field. Okay, and let's bring it down. Oh, yes. Okay. All right, so this star is the one that is going to be going supernova sometime. I mean, it could go supernova right now. I mean, it's literally that close to going supernova. All right, and I'm gonna actually, I'll take a photo of it. Why not, right? All right, so let's actually get some stars. Get our guide star. Go there. Done. And now I'm gonna just do a 10. I'll do a 15-second shot of it. Now, I haven't told you this, but I will now. The most important fields on this whole screen are this one, the exposure, okay, and then this one, the gain. Our exposure is 15 seconds, and the gain is over here at 200. What does that mean? It means that we are, yeah, look how bright that is. It means that what we're doing is we're taking a photograph that's 15 seconds long, and what we're doing is we are setting the sensor to have a sensitivity of 200, right? Now, I had too many processes going on. This is an anomaly. It's caused by the bright star. This is called a lens, internal lens reflection. You might know it as a lens flare as well. Okay. And so, so this star then is very, very bright. It's very, very big. If you put this star where the sun is, the star itself would be so big, it's the diameter of Jupiter's orbit. That's a massive star. Okay. All right. And now you can see the color. All right. The color is really just unparalleled. It's just a beautiful star. Let me put this up here docked up, and let's see if we can color correct this. Yeah. So that's the real color. So of Betelgeuse, not the blue thing. The blue thing is, again, it's an artifact. A blue reflection. But boy, oh boy, the rings have to do with the optical system, not Betelgeuse itself. The star is actually very, very small in this image. The star is smaller than the smallest pinpoint you can see in here, but it's so bright that we are getting this. Now, why is that? Because the star is a huge diameter. So it has what we call a high luminosity, a high brightness, intrinsic brightness. So when we watch it, we see the star, even though it's 750 light years from us, we see the star as a huge, bright object, even though it's literally the tinier than this pinpoint. And each of these pinpoints are way smaller by hundreds or thousands of times than the dots we're seeing here. The dots are only caused by the sensor here that's at 200 sensitivity receiving the image of the star. Okay, so I'm gonna call this. I'll let this do it. All right, this is going to tell us. This will be Alpha Orionis right there, and we'll set that to be the target name, and we'll save with annotations. All right. And now I want to do something else. I'm going to save it like we have here. And then save it exactly as seen. Now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to take the sensitivity. All right. We're going to take it down to 0. And still leave it as a 15-second exposure. Now this next exposure is going to be a blend of 200 and 0. So it's not going to look quite right. Okay. See, that's not quite right. So we're going to clear this. And now this next exposure we're going to see is going to show us the size of the image when we don't have any sensitivity on our sensor. And watch how many stars we actually see. Right, there's Betelgeuse. There's that reflection. And only the brighter stars show up. If I overprocess by hitting this, it kind of looks similar to what we saw before. It's just a little more grainy. Okay, so this is one of the things that we often might do just to see if we can study the structure. Now, if I also come over here and I take the white level, the mid level actually, here, and I move it way down, then you get rid of many of the other artifacts from the brightness of Betelgeuse, and we can start to see just what's going on in the star itself. And as you notice, the more we do this, the more stars seem to vanish because we're removing their brightness from the view. See that? And that's a good color representation of Betelgeuse. It's a supergiant, a red supergiant. The outer envelope of the star is so cool that molecules can form and dust forms. And that dust is something that we talked about just moments ago when we saw the horse head. When Betelgeuse goes supernova here, we're going to see a major outflow of dust and other elements and other debris from that supernova explosion. And as I said, it could happen right now. It could happen 1,000 years from now. It could happen 10,000 years from now. But I'll say this. If it happens in the next several years, I'm going to see it, and we're going to show you. That's cool. So there's Betelgeuse. Notice it's the only star we can see, and we have this value way over here, and it's still very bright. This value is almost all the way to the floor over here. Okay, and as we get closer, you can see that Betelgeuse doesn't go away. And you might say, oh, is that the size of Betelgeuse? No, it's not. No, Betelgeuse is like over several thousand times smaller in actual size than what we're seeing here. What we're seeing here is a bloated image on the camera sensor. That's what we're seeing. So that leads to this type of object that we see. Okay, but that's Betelgeuse. And I thought I would share that with you because it's just kind of cool. All right. All right, let's do this. We'll save that. All right. All right, so let's do this and go back to something else. Look, even it just with a simple 1 second view here, it shows if we process, you'll see just a couple other stars peeking in. But Betelgeuse is the brightest star in the constellation, so you know it's definitely going to be a prominent object. So let's go back, like I mentioned, to this. All right, and now I'm going to show you this guy right here. Oh, don't worry, we'll go back to some of the other nebulae. This is the Rosette Nebula. The Rosette is astonishing because it has a very nice cluster of stars in the middle, which power it. And these stars have cleared an area in the center and cleared it of all the dust. And thus, we end up seeing, the view that you're about to see. I'm actually going to shoot this right here. I'm going to get a guide star on this, and then we're going to look at this. I'll show you what's going on. The Rosette Nebula is it's an actual stellar nursery that's forming stars, and we're looking at just one quadrant of it right now. The center is sort of here, okay, and we're looking at the ring of gas that's around this that's illuminated, and that's what's here. So let's do a 30-second shot here, and we'll start in with our live stack. Let me we're getting wind. That's one of the problems. So let's do this. Get a different star, a little brighter. let's see if this first one actually comes in okay. Yes, okay, now let's see it. And, well, I had this going. Alright, so now we'll do this. Alright, now we're seeing... Yeah, I know you're not seeing much, but I want to show you this. Oh, I have the gain of 0. That's a mistake. It has to be a gain of 200. No wonder. I'm sorry. I'll make it 250. So this, now you'll see it. Look at that beautiful spire. That's what I want to show you. So what we're going to do is clear this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to move it up a little bit because I want that spire to be more prominent than it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the stars up a little bit and let you see that a little better. This telescope has a very large focal length relative to the other telescope. What that means is that this is a more magnified view. And the more magnified view is one that will afford us to see details that we might not otherwise see. This star is a good one. So we'll guide on that. Alright, so now I'm going to do we'll do 35 seconds because this is going to be beautiful. So there's a dark spire in here of dust that's inside this nebula. Now, what does this nebula look like as a whole? Well, there's a very bad picture of it here, but I'll show you. Okay, this is it. And I'm going to show you, this is our view. All right, and I've been moving the telescope a little bit. So we're looking at this spire right here. Okay. So let's do our live stack. And we should get our image. And I gotta take off this over processing. Wow, look at that. See that? So that's the beauty of this thing, right? This is gorgeous. So that's the spire I just showed you. You can see it's got a lot more detail, even though it's only one image. We're going to stack more images to get this to look good. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. Let's color correct it too. We need a few more to get it to color correct properly. There we go. Look at that. So see all this detail. So much going on in here. There's so much astronomy happening right here in front of your eyes. So much. And I, in going through university to study astronomy, one of the things I came up with and discovered was that many of these objects in here, and I'll even darken it up a little, many of these objects in here are these little globules. And one of the people that was one of the professors that I dealt with was a man named Bart J. Bok, B-O-K. He was an American astronomer. And Bart had this incredible mind, and he figured out that these dark objects, okay, this one right there, that guy right there, all right, that one right there, and some of the others that we'll see in here, these objects are actually very important in the universe, because they're areas where the dark dust has started to gravitationally collapse locally in that area of space. And it's also collapsing with hydrogen gas, which is the most plentiful gas in the entire universe. And eventually we might see a star wink on in here, okay, right in here, okay, or in over here, down in that one, okay. And we have thousands of these in this cluster, thousands of them, you know. And that's what this is all about. Nicholas Guerrero, how you doing? Nice to see you. Aurelio is with us. Aurelio, nice to see you. Galactic Volcano, you know, you actually you have a really cool channel there, Galactic. Galactic Volcano does volcano stuff, which I think is really cool. Star Traveler 29, what's going on? Nice to see you. Doing the California Nebula, excellent. Black hole, will Betelgeuse turn into a black hole? Not sure. The reason we're not sure is because its mass is interesting. Okay, if it has a high enough mass, then maybe. But how much is left after the supernova explosion is going to determine whether it goes into a black hole or not. If there's more than 2.5 or so solar masses in the core of the remaining star that's been collapsing, it'll go past the neutron star expectation and go right to a black hole. Star Traveler 29 says first meridian flip on the new SAL 33 mount, and success. Yeah, meridian flips, for those that don't know, you can imagine, you can see the telescope right there, and this is the axis coming out toward us right here, and it's going to continue to go down like this, and you can imagine it's going to get so far that the equipment at the back end of the telescope could actually hit the pier. And so what we have to do is something called a meridian flip. It goes up and around, spins around, and catches it from the other side. Of course, that changes everything with the way the telescope's seeing the objects. So you want to take your photographs before you do the meridian flip, because you'll get some changes. JSCO is with us. JSCO 773 is here. We we are doing, by the way, just so you know, for new viewers and people that might have forgotten, we are still going to be doing equipment giveaways. And we started by doing a number of equipment giveaways, and we're going to continue to do them. I talked to Tiffany Echo and Mike, the people that are behind the equipment, and they said that they will be starting those up again. Look at this, guys. Look at this area. Isn't this beautiful? You can see how it tapers off. Now, this is very important to notice. Notice there's a spire sticking up right here. Okay? Right? That's important to notice. Notice this one is a spire sticking up. This one is a spire sticking up. This is a little spire or pillar sticking up. Where is it pointing? It's pointing up in here where the star cluster is, the cluster that cleared this cavity inside. What's going on is the radiation from that star cluster is so intense that it pushes. Remember I talked about how the Horsehead Nebula, for instance, in Orion is formed by stellar winds pushing stuff. Well, the stellar winds from this group of stars is so powerful that it pushes the gas out of the way and clears a hole in the very birthplace that they were born in. And where there's areas of dense stuff, like right here, okay, this dense material is too dense and so forth to be easily pushed by the stellar winds. So this stays, and the stuff around it gets pushed away. And as you can imagine, this will make a pillar over time. The material on this side is safely out of the stellar winds. The material on this side, safely out of the stellar winds. All right? You can see that this is where that stuff got pushed to, basically. All right? Here's a little one right here, a little one right there. And these, again, are pillars like the pillars of creation we see that Hubble took. And that's in a summertime object that's beautiful. It's called the Eagle Nebula. But isn't this great? This is 12 of these. And I'm going to see if we can take this as the Rosette Nebula. We're going to take this and set that to be our target name. All right. Because it kind of looks like a rose, doesn't it? And then we will save that. And you'll see it goes to the Rosette Nebula directory. So if you go to skytourlive.org and you scroll down, there's an area that says, I want to see cool pictures. It's going to take you to our directories. And you're going to go to the date, okay, 1/14/2026. You're going to see the name of the object, if you want this very picture. And then you're going to go into that nebula directory, and then you're going to see some files, but you want to go one directory deeper, and it's the instructions are on the website. You're going to go into the process directory, and you'll see that same name that'll say, this name .png. So this is the image that is currently, probably right now as we speak, up in that directory. It's gone up to that fast. So this stuff is all gonna be available to you. And this image, this is free. Enjoy it. And Rosette Nebula has got a lot of red in it, and this is more like what it looks like, but we're looking at a small section of it. And this is just a gorgeous shot. Oh man, 15 so far, and this is only a 35-second shot. I don't want to lose people by doing like a 10-minute shot, but can you imagine what we'd see with 10 minutes? I might do that privately. All right, so that's this side. Now I'm gonna get out of this right now, because we're gonna actually look at another element of the same thing. Oops, I didn't mean to say 4 seconds. I meant to say 1 second. And then this. Okay. So now we are here, and we were just right here. And what I want to do now is travel over to this side right here. Okay, and look at this, because this is really a very cool object right here. I'd like to capture that as well. And that's going to be over to its left. So we're going to go over there, and you're going to see this thing move on out. Yep. And then our guider starts to complain, hey, you moved my stars. Yes, I did. All right, now I'm just going to try and take a 20-second shot just to see if it's where I want it to be. If it's not, I'll move it in. But we should be here now. This is also, this red square is our field of view. All right, and we're gonna see what we got here in 2 seconds, 1 second, 0, boom. Yeah, almost. I gotta pull that down a little. Nice. Oh yeah, this will be pretty too. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull this down to here. All right, and we're gonna do that by doing this. And then doing this. Thank you for joining us tonight again. This is nice of you to join us. I'd love having you all with me. Want to say hi to Star Panda. And Curtis Horn's with us. He says, I'll be back later. Okay, and Fantasy, nice to see you. And Star Panda, whose name is Tiffany, said, I was going to do a giveaway 2 days ago on my birthday. Oh, happy belated birthday. I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm currently recovering from food poisoning. I don't even want you in this stream if you have food poisoning. Don't push yourself, girl. Tell Michael to take care of you. All right. Okay, thank you very much, Star Panda. I'm so happy that you're here, but unhappy that you're not feeling well. So please feel better, please. And I'm going to be at Contact in the Desert at the end of May. So I'll be seeing you there if you're going to be there. Let me know. And I'm hoping I can do a remote sky tour there. I was doing the remote sky tours there as well. Yeah. What's Fantasy saying? Oh, I didn't get to right last time. The Witchhead Nebula, you were... Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I actually was looking at the Witchhead Nebula. It's a nebula that's basically in Orion. It's west of Rigel, the lower right star in Orion. And the Witch Head Nebula is very faint, and this telescope has such a tight view of it that we only see a tiny piece of it. So I'm gonna be trying to like I said, when I go out there on the 20th through the 28th, our wide field system, I'm rehabbing it and refurbishing it, and I'm gonna totally take it off the fork mounts, and we're putting it on a mount just like this one, and we're raising it up in the building so it can see without limitations. Those of you that have been with us a while, you know that that telescope had trouble seeing over the wall. We're always talking about going over the wall, right? Well, no more, because we're going to be able to see over the wall now and see objects near the horizon if we wanted to. Most astronomers don't look at things in the horizon because it's too fuzzy and stuff like that with the air. But there's some cool things. Star Panda says, we'll be there to do giveaways again. I love it. I love it. But Tiffany, get some rest. Get some rest, hon. I'm so glad that you dropped in. Hang out as long as you wish. And if you're gone, I won't feel bad. Let me see. I'm going to take a chance that our stack is going to look good here. All right. Let's get this. And let's get rid of that. That doesn't look good because I had the extra processing on. Let's take that off. Oh, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Look at that. Wow. All right, we'll color correct. And it'll be too green, but it changes as we get more data. Look at that, guys. That's just beautiful. Wow. Okay. So what you're going to look at here is this stringy dark material. There's lots of blobs in here, and we're looking at future planets being formed and potentially future stars. Wow, this is incredible. This is really beautiful. All right, we've got two stacked. Let's see if we can get a color more reasonable. Yeah, there we go. Once we get more data, it shows up. I'm just stunned. And by the way, look where the telescope's pointing. This thing is still kind of low in the horizon. Not really. It's about 30 degrees up. Let's go find out. All right, let's bing out of here. Oh, 49. Excellent. It's really good. Look at all the detail in here. This is so incredible. So incredible. Wow. And you can see the structures caused by these linear type structures caused by the star cluster. If we come back here, all right, and look at this again, we're upside down. Okay, the star cluster is right here, and it's carved out this cavity, right in here. It's carved that cavity out, and it's influencing the shapes of all this stuff in here. Really cool. These are the two most interesting places in this cluster, unless you want to go look at some of the pillars down here, which are kind of cool as well. Maybe we'll go look at that next. All right. Wait, let's go back to this. All right, so this is neat. Let's see. That's going to make it look a little brighter. Yeah, that's something else. That's beautiful. Drag this down to... There we go. Look at that. And now let's darken the background a little by raising our black level. You climb the white curve is the average of the red, green, and blue curves, and it shows the data, right? So as we move up here toward the peak, we're actually getting rid of noise. Like if I come back here, you'll see what happens. Okay, see it's kind of washed out. In some ways, you can see the contrast a little better. And then if we come up here, like I said, we come up here, all right, you see the objects darker against the background much better. You got to understand, it's really not, it's kind of tricky to take photos of dark nebula. These are dark nebula, dark dust in dark space. But we're still able to do it because we're using filters that allow us to do this. JSCO says amazing looking. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's just beautiful. Now let me see here. If let me show you where we're looking with the telescope. If I do this, okay, right, you can see up here, you can just barely see it. There's Betelgeuse, there's the belt of Orion, there's the Orion Nebula, and we're kind of looking right about here. That's what we're looking right about there. All right. Okay. And as I said, we have other astronomers on the mountain that are doing their thing as well. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. This is a very, very dark sky sight. Now, the other thing that I haven't seen before is this incredible detail right here. If you look carefully, I see there are very detailed little blobs in here. All throughout here, little detailed blobs. And these detailed blobs are these dark globules, dark nebulae, where planets may be forming and where stars may form inside. Okay, and these, you have that. We also have that dark blob right there. Look at that, that little guy. That little guy right there, that's approximately maybe a light year across. All right, this object here, I believe, is around 5,000 light years away. The Rosette Nebula, let me look at, confirm that. Make sure I'm not incorrect. Yeah, it does. I have to actually go to the Rosette itself. Yeah, 5,252.19 roughly light years away. So 5,219 light years. And we are right here looking at this beautiful cloud, this transitional cloud coming through here. Amazing. Oh, that's just beautiful. It looks terrible there. Okay. It looks much better. It looks much better over here. Look at this detail. You can clearly see that it's sitting in front of the nebula behind it. Wow. Never seen this, guys. This is the first time we've been able to see this. I've seen the Rosette Nebula many times, but I've never seen this detail. Look at that. Oh. Wow. I'm blown away. I am. I have no words. Daisy and Zoe. Hi, guys. How are you? It does look like a rose. That's what the rosette is named for. It's like a rosette pattern. Wow. Fantasy says, how did they use it back in the day with the plates? Well, back in the day when we just photographed with plates, this is what we took. Image like that. And the only reason we knew what was hydrogen and what was oxygen and what was other gases was by taking a spectrum of the area and then comparing the signals or lines in the spectrum to known elements like oxygen and hydrogen. And we didn't have color back then. When we had color, it's sort of obvious. This is hydrogen gas here, right? This here, down here, this is doubly ionized oxygen down here. And then we have a mix where it's very bright red, it's denser. All right, there's more of it. Where it's lighter, like here and down here, it's not as dense. Now, even in the most dense part of this nebula right here, it looks very dense. And you can even see, if I zoom in a little bit, you can even see how it has like a light edge, because you're seeing the edges of it have two things going on potentially. There's some hydrogen emission going on there because there's hydrogen gas here too, but the dark nebula is overwhelming it and prevents you from seeing that color. The other thing that we could be seeing is a straight reflection off of the light on the other side of the nebula, because this is a three-dimensional object, right? So it's like having a ball, and you put the ball in a place, and if you look, you move your vantage point higher, and it's being lit from the other side, you can start to see the lit side, but you see sort of a shadow as it goes from light to dark. And that's could be what we're seeing here and here, and a little over here. Then we have these very low density regions over here. Now, let's take a look. Like, this is a very dense area, right? Let's compare that to about here. Okay, if we look here and we look at the atoms in this area, there's probably literally only 30 atoms in a sugar cube size area of space. Okay, but when you have many of these sugar cube size space, and you're seeing it from a far away distance, then you can actually see it as being there. Otherwise, you could be in the middle of it and not even know it's there. Okay, now let's go to this dense area over here. This dense area might have way more than 30. It might have 1,000 times that. It could have 30,000 atoms in a little tiny sugar cube size. All right, well, even with 30,000 atoms, that's nowhere near the density of the atmosphere. Okay, the density of our atmosphere is literally 1 times 10 to the 20th atoms per sugar cube size, roughly. So that is no relationship whatsoever, nothing like the atmosphere. But it is a area where the center is getting denser and denser as the stuff compresses, and so it could theoretically, and does get, dense enough to form planets and dense enough to form stars. This is more like the color that it is here. And so the density increases, and the density increase occurs inside these globules down here. These are getting denser and denser, and there might become a point where they get so dense, and when things get dense, it means there's stuff pushing down on all sides, and that's gravity, mutual gravitational contraction, and that presses things in and keeps them compressed. And that when you compress things, they get hot. Okay, it's rules of thermodynamics. And so when you watch compression occur, you can notice that the temperature is rising, the pressure increases in the center. The pressure has to get to about 15 million Celsius for hydrogen atoms to fuse. And when hydrogen atoms fuse, they press together. The ultimate result will be a helium isotope, or a type of a helium atom. And it gives off energy in the process. And that's the power of the stars. The hydrogen fuses to helium. Get hot enough, get to 100 million Celsius, and helium can fuse into carbon. Okay, carbon can fuse into nitrogen and oxygen. All right, and then all the way up to iron, which is number 26. The bigger the star, the more you can go through that periodic table and make more elements. Okay, and so when you look at these stars as element factories, you understand that the stars themselves have their own limits. We can only get to iron. But wait, Mark, there's 118 elements in the periodic table. Where do all those come from? I have a beautiful periodic table that shows exactly where all those other elements come from. Gold, for instance. Where does gold come from? It doesn't come from regular fusion of anything to something else. It doesn't. All the gold in the universe, we think, and this is subject to further study, of course, but right now it's actually pretty positive. We think that all the gold in the universe came from merging neutron stars. Neutron stars can sometimes orbit each other and merge, and when they do, there's a massive pressure increase, more than enough to potentially create gold. And so when we look at that, we think, hey, maybe that's where gold comes from. And it seems to be a promising line of research. And look at that. There's the whole picture. Let me show you the whole picture. Here, we'll do this. We're going to set this to show you the height. There's the whole picture. Look at that, huh? Beautiful, subtle details down here. all around here. Look at that. Oh my gosh. We gotta zoom into this. Look at that. Wow. Well, I'm telling you, this is a really, really pretty nebula. And these are details you just don't see without a telescope like this one that can do these types of deep dives. Just beautiful. We're going to go to 25 on this, and then I'm going to go to the pillars down the bottom. Wow. Just amazing. Just amazing. Yeah, this so this dark dust came from countless previous supernovae and large supergiants making dust in their outer atmospheres prior to going supernova. And when they went supernovae, they proceeded to then release them into the interstellar medium. All right, so we're going to save this. Save exactly as seen. Ah, that's beautiful, isn't it? I almost don't want to leave. Let me see if I can do a color correction. All right, doesn't do much good. Okay. Okay, we'll be back. I promise, Rosette, we'll be back. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go to another location, and that is this one down here. This is a very prominent location. And let's make sure that we get this. All right, so I'm zipping down there, and I'm gonna stop the complaints. And once we stabilize, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a guide star. That's a beautiful guide star. All right, that's a guide star we're guiding. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a 25-second photo to make sure I'm where I want to be. If not, I'll just jog it a little bit. Probably have to move it a little bit. Yeah. Star Traveler says, I just noticed you using the 533. That's the camera. And are you going to go to the 2600? That's the plan. Planning on going to the 2600 and the 533. Oh, look at that! Wow. Okay, the 533 is going to be used for. Excuse me. The 533 is going to be used for our spectroscopy spectrograph system we're installing. And that has to be something that we grab. Now, let's see, we got this. Yeah, we're gonna have to bring this down again as well, so we'll do that. Okay, so we're gonna bring that down into the view, and let's do that. 1 second, yeah. Am I gonna come down this way? Yeah, it's gonna complain. Yes, I know. Then we got this. Yep. And then this. Move down. And I think this will end up being good. Once we stabilize, I can go get another. Here we go. Yeah, I know. I know it. Don't panic. We're going to get you set up. All right. All right, new image and new guide stars. Notice inside the circles there's other stars. These are secondary stars that are used for confirmations for the guiding. That's why the guiding is so perfect. All right, now let's do a quick 20-second photo. Make sure I'm where I want to be. And then we will make sure that we start doing another longer exposure. This stuff is really phenomenal stuff, guys. This is just Unbelievable stuff. Seeing these dark nebulae in the nebula like this. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow. Okay. There's a pillar right there. Excellent. Okay, we're gonna focus on this. So we're gonna go and do a 40-second shot here. All right, and we're gonna go into our live stack here. Get rid of our over process there. Our low light mode. Sally Ford says, is the number 26 popular tonight? Is it just me, or is the number 26 really popular tonight? I don't know. Did I say 26? Okay, let's get this first one in. It'll be a little noisy when you look at it. Oh my gosh, look at that, guys. Huh? Beautiful colors. And I'm not going to do the color correction now because it'll just turn it green as we saw before. Second one coming in will be better. But look at this, and it goes down here even more. Let's do a fitting of the height here. So there's the whole section that I want to see. Look at that. Wow. That is beautiful. As we get the second one in, you'll notice that the noise level drops to half of what it was. So watch, here comes the second one. All right, now you'll notice it's clearer. The noise level cuts in half. When you double the amount of exposures, you cut the digital noise in half. So if you take 20 exposures, all right, you have a certain amount of noise left in your image. If you go to 40, you get about half of that. David Schmidt is with us. Good morning, David. How are you doing? The reason he says good morning is because it's about 11:30 in the morning where David Schmidt is. He is literally exactly on the opposite side of the planet. He's in Thailand. Fantastic. David, so good to see you again, man. Hope things are going well for you. Beautiful image. This is just beautiful. Yeah, long time no see. LTNS. I'm glad you dropped in. David, if you want me to do something for your class, are you still teaching? If you want me to do something for your class again, let me know. With the winter coming, it's probably pretty cool. I'd be happy to do that for you. I have another school that actually wants me to do stuff for them as well. And I will probably do some stuff for them as well. Fantasy says, I hope to make it out to Thailand one day in the near future. Look out, Dave. Fantasy's coming. Oh, you're retired now. Okay. That's okay, David. Now you have time to come in and see our streams again. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take you and put you down and drop this in big so it shows this way. This is really pretty. This is crazy, crazy good. Now remember, this is upside down. The cluster is down there, all right? So the cluster, the center is down here, off the page, way down here, okay? So we're seeing this is one of those pillars pointing at the cluster right here, right there, okay? We're seeing this one pointing at the center of the cluster as well, right? And so what's happening is, like I said, and this little one right there, what's going on is that the cluster is eroding away the gas and dust little by little. Very, very powerful stars, and they're stellar winds go light years. In fact, the cluster's center is several light years across easily. It's 5,200 light years away, and I could actually measure and calculate and tell you just how big that thing actually is. All right. By the way, David, I got your Christmas card. I forgot to tell you. Thank you. Now that you're here, I can say thank you for that beautiful Christmas card. You know? And Lori at LDP says that it looks like a phoenix bird. That's pretty cool. It does, doesn't it? Where is this the eye and this is the beak? Is that what you're seeing? And this is the phoenix rising. Wings out here, wings out there, fire everywhere. Is that what it looks like? Kind of does look like it, huh? Fantasy. Coming for the food, not the other stuff. David, yeah, that's what they all say. That's funny. Well, apparently they weren't playing games with the card you sent me, David, and it was really beautiful. Thank you for sending it. It was very nice. Kevin O'Neill's with us. Hey, Kevin. Nice to see you, man. Just in time to see the Rosette Nebula detail. We shot 2 other regions of it already tonight. Pretty cool. Kevin says, better late than never for me tonight. Hi, Mark, and other spacers. Well, I could be Dr. Demento. Welcome all you Dementoids and Dementites. You may remember Dr. Demento featured a song that went famous, viral back then, called Fish Heads. Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads. Fish heads, eat them up, yum. It was a terrible song, but because it was so terrible, it was funniest song ever. And you see the guy watering fish heads in the garden, having fish heads at the movies, taking this fish head for a walk. I'm really glad I streamed tonight, guys. This is really pretty. Really, really pretty. Oh, man. Look at the detail in here. Wow. I'm just going to bring this up for a second, and I'm going to do a couple things. Number one, I'm going to do a color correction. There we go. That's subtle, but important. Let me show you something. I'm going to do this. Okay, see how bright that is? But now watch. I'm going to invert it. Okay. Now you see the detail in here. Now, in astronomy, many times when we do astronomical work, we'll actually work with black and white images. So black and white, like this. And we would see the white stuff is actually the dark nebula. And the dark stuff is actually the red nebula. Okay, so it's the negative of it. See, watch. Okay. So we have these tongues of pillars sticking out toward the center of the cluster, and if we invert them, we see them we see more detail, so we can actually use these modes to do more precise measurements of detail objects. Although it's just more fun, isn't it, when you actually have a full color image. So if we go to color, it's a color negative now. And if we invert it back, what it should be, oops, okay, and then drop it down, we have this. Wow. Isn't that pretty? Sally says, I feel so at peace here. I'm glad. Do Milhouse from The Simpsons, Aurelia wants. Oh boy. I don't remember how Millhouse sounds. I'd have to listen to Millhouse once, and I'd get it. Yeah, but right now I don't have it. I'm just too taken aback by this beautiful view. This is really pretty. So if I come in here and I redock it, we'll have this, it goes down to the full size. That's just beautiful. Yeah, look at all these details here. This pillar right here, you notice that pillar? It has sort of like a red edge to it now. We never saw that before. More strange protrusions here, and we're seeing dark areas. Okay, dark pillars right here, like the pillars of creation I said in the Eagle Nebula. Globules in different places, where we got two globules right there. And we also have these beautiful little red stars right here and right there. Okay, and right there, a little tiny red star right there. So these are stars embedded in the dust in all likelihood. And the stars embedded in the dust are stars that are actually, their light is made redder by the dust. The light is being made redder in the same way that the sun's light is made redder on the horizon. The sun looks yellow in our sky. It's actually white if you go to space. It's white. And when you look at the sun from space and it looks white, you say, huh, it's a white star, not a yellow star like we see in all of our pictures and everything. Why is that? Because when the sun's light comes into the atmosphere, the molecules in our atmosphere are absorbing the light and letting most of it through. But it takes in the blue light specifically because the little tiny molecules in our atmosphere and the dust in our atmosphere absolutely loves blue light. Blue light is very, very short wavelength, very high frequency light. The higher the frequency, the smaller the wavelength. And that high frequency light is taken in by this blue dust. It's like a magic trick. It takes it in and then redirects it, sends it out in all different directions. For this reason, with every molecule in the atmosphere doing this is why every direction you look, you see blue sky. Because every molecule is doing it. Even when you're looking away from the sun, the molecules over there are scattering the light back this way, and the molecules over there are scattering the light this way. So, as the sun gets toward the horizon, you're seeing through more air along the curve of the Earth, right? And as you see through more air on the curve of the Earth, more blue light is taken out and sent all over the place. So you end up seeing a red sunset because all of the yellow, green, and blue components of the sun's spectrum are taken out of the spectrum, and you're just left with the red and the orange and some of the yellow. All right, and that's actually got a name. It's called Rayleigh scattering, the process by which the molecules just take in and emit just the blue light. Rayleigh, Lord Rayleigh, Rayleigh, famous scientist, and that's something very interesting. Now, did you ever notice also when you have different densities of liquid, you pour one liquid into another, and you see how it mixes and makes the clouds? Like you pour milk into water, and you get this weird cloudiness before it sort of congeals and mixes into one thing. Well, Rayleigh also figured that out. It's called Rayleigh-Taylor instability, meaning two dense liquids that are different densities, water different density than, say, the milk or honey or something. As you drop that into the water, the milk pushes the water out of the way, but then the water pushes upward, and you see two different mixing things going on. Well, in some of the nebula that we look at, we kind of see the same thing. So at a cosmic level, the Rayleigh-Taylor instability also seems to occur, which is kind of neat. And I realize that this is like, what's he talking about to some of you? But it is kind of interesting, and I just thought it would be kind of cool to go through that and let you know. And we got, let's see, we have Mike. Mike says, it's not really red sunset. I'm disappointed. Well, actually, it is to your eye, but out in space, it's still white, right? Now, I'll tell you one thing. When you look at satellites going over, and you see the satellites going overhead, right? As you watch the satellites going overhead, you'll notice that as they start to fade out, they might look like they change to like an orange color. And the reason is because, as you're already surmising, from their position up in orbit, they're going past the edge of the Earth finally, and they're seeing sunset as well. And so the light coming from the sun to them is also red or orange. So sunset in space is something that also occurs. You just have to be right at the right spot. And every satellite fading out is in the right spot. Or fading in. Yeah. Now the ISS, you might say, is yellow. Well, it is. But that's not because of the sun. That's actually because of the solar panels. The solar panels are these large square panels. And what color are they? Well, they're kind of an orangey color, aren't they? So with the white of the rest of the station's habitat, the white and the orange of the panels kind of blend to a sort of a yellow. And it's kind of neat. Now, look at that. So see, if you're not careful, you might actually learn something here. I hope you guys are having a good night. Sometimes you don't have to go far to see just miraculous stuff, huh? Look at this. Oh. Again, this is all gas and dust shaped by that cluster of stars down the bottom left there. That's incredible. That's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And as I said, these globules could be planetary systems in formation soon. You know, and these vast black areas of dust. There's a globule right there I mentioned before. Right there. Think. Yep. These vast black areas are areas of this dust that's actually is being pushed away by the stars. Absolutely incredible. Wow. I'm sorry I'm sort of geeking out on this, guys. To be honest, this is... I've never seen the Rosette Nebula with this camera and telescope yet. So, it's beautiful. I mean, I'm seeing details I've never seen before. When we look at it with a wide field, you see the whole thing. Okay? But you can't get down to this level of detail because we don't have enough pixels in the camera to get down to this level of detail. I might get us to that level of detail, but it's still a wide field system. We have like 1.5 degrees by 1 degree in size with it, and with the current camera on that other system. This one, we're seeing like 20 arc minutes. It's a fraction of a degree. So it's like you know, 1/3 of a degree. And it's beautiful. Dave Schmidt says, "Gotta go, busy day." Yeah, it's daytime. This was like it's just getting to lunchtime for you. Catch you soon, brother. Good to see you, David. And I'm glad I got a chance to thank you for the Christmas card. And a Happy New Year, David. Happy New Year. Very cool. Now we are working on other locations as a possible location. Now, if you guys are interested in supporting us, I know this is sort of like a shameless plug, but you can actually go to sky2live.org and you can donate to us there if you want. The donation structure isn't, I don't think it's been but it's not our fault. It's the company that handles it. But But if you want to super chat us, we can do that too, you know. Or if you want to join our Patreon is up there. And what you get with the Patreon is, at I think 30 a month or 25, I don't know. May have to look. You get 4 images like this, but fully processed, and so you can blow them up gigantic and put them on sweatshirts and fine art products and stuff like that. And if you don't want to do that work, no problem. You can just go to our Etsy store, SkyTour Shop. All right, and that's right here. SkyTour Shop. We actually have a lot of the photos we take, just kind of like this one, and we put them on everything from mouse pads to T-shirts to boxer shorts. No kidding, and sneakers, shoes. We actually have Horsehead Nebula shoes right now, for instance. So it's really cool. So hopefully you might do that. There's about, oh gosh, maybe 40 products up there now. Blankets, giant blankets with a massive nebulae on the whole blanket, and that came out really good. Just crazy stuff. Fantasy says I'm going to be purchasing land outside Death Valley in the next couple of years. I'd be more than willing to allow you to build on. That's cool, Fantasy. That is so cool. Let's talk. It's a low spot though. So we would actually get in that area of Death Valley, where Death Valley is. There's actually the highest heat levels in the entire country, so we'd have to be careful about that. And due north of LAX, 115 miles. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, wow. That's cool, Fantasy. Well, we will consider it. We will definitely consider it. All right, we got 31 shots here. Let's save this. There we go. Now, why are we taking so many shots? I might have mentioned this several times. That is because we're making an image sandwich of all these images on top of each other. If you remember the first one, it kind of looked a little fuzzy and noisy. And this one does not, because we're actually removing a lot of the noise in this image here, because we're stacking. This is beautiful. Okay. Say goodnight to the Rosette Nebula. And we'll move on to something else. Yeah, go ahead. Wow. Okay. Oh, I hate to do it, but I gotta remember, it's not just me. You're all watching too. Okay. Let's go see what else we can find. Oh, we have some beautiful things here. I know it's 30 degrees. It's right here. I wonder if we should try it. That might be up here. Let me not that. We don't want that. These are low to the horizon right now. Okay. So they won't be very pretty. But let's see where Thor's helmet is. Yeah, that might 35 might be okay. Let's try it. All right. Thor's helmet is an interesting object. It's you're gonna see the telescope now looking down low. Okay, see, there it is. That's not that low. That's actually good. All right, so let's see if we got Thor in here or not. First thing first, turn off the complaining. Might have it. Let me just do a. Let's do this. I can just. It's doing this. I don't like it doing that. Thank you. Stop. All right, now let's do a. Oh, see that's wind. That's wind making it move like that. See that? This is wind moving the telescope, so we're actually getting some pretty hefty wind. So we may not be able to get an image of this thing with that wind out there. Okay, we'll avoid the wind. We'll come back another time. Let's get back up in the air where it's more stable. And there is the Witch Head Nebula that we talked about, but it's hard to capture this very well with a system like this. Our wide field system can see nearly half of all of it, and it's just beautiful. So we'll do that. Now see, now that I said that, looks like the wind has stopped. All right, well, let me try this. Let's see if I can. It's gonna be able to find where it is. So 0.2 degrees away is where this thing is. So the object I was trying to find is in the middle right now. It's right here. And once the telescope stabilizes and it stops, like that, it should be right here. So let's do a first of all, let's see if we grab ourselves a guide star. See how fuzzy this looks? Look what the telescope's looking. It's actually not that bad, but it's such a good night. I'm gonna give it a shot and see what I can do with this particular object. Thor's helmet is an interesting location, an interesting object. I'm gonna tell you all about it in just a sec. This one will be a 45-second photo. With the wind, I don't know if it's gonna work out, but we'll give it a shot. Let's come out of the low light mode and go into our deep sky mode. Woo. So Thor's helmet is a nebula, and it's a greenish blue teal nebula. It's got a lot of oxygen 3. Remember that doubly ionized oxygen I mentioned earlier? And it's got that in there. It's got some hydrogen in it. So it has a little bit of red fringe. And it nearly fills the field in the scope a little bit, so it looks pretty good. Now, Thor's helmet is powered by a particular star that is called a wolf, like W-O-L-F, like the creature, and Rayet, R-A-Y-E-T. Now, Wolf and Rayet were astronomers that discovered these very, very hot stars. And these stars are absolutely... Oh, looks like my session was interrupted, so I gotta come back just a sec. All right, let me wow. Okay, 1 second. My connection was taken down. It's fine. It's still, I just got to get back to it. All right, let me start up the connecting software again. Takes 2 seconds. And now I can connect the Benson. Here we come. And boom, we're back. Ah, look at that. Wow. Told you it was going to be good. All right, so this is an object that is called Thor's helmet. Now, this you can see by color correcting. We've got 2 frames. You can see the red fringing around here. That's hydrogen gas. This bluish teal stuff, this is doubly ionized oxygen. And the doubly ionized oxygen is characteristically this color. When those electrons come back into the oxygen atom, they give off light. And that light for this oxygen is this teal blue. Now that's the star right there. That's the culprit. This is powering all this. Okay, it's powering all this. The reason is because the Wolf-Rayet stars, as I told you, are weird stars. Imagine a star where the entire outside of the star is blown off the star, but the core is still going and is still fusing furiously in there. What's happening is that when you look at the anatomy of a star, the center 15 to 20% is the only thing that's doing fusion. So when you look at the sun in the sky, 10 to 15 to 20% of what you're seeing in the sky in the center is the only thing causing that whole thing to be that bright. Okay? And so with a Wolf-Rayet star, we have that 10 to 15 to 20% core gets so hot that it starts to push outward with such strong stellar winds that the entire outer envelope of the star just leaves the star. And that is something that then exposes that inner core of the star. And that's what we see right here. We're seeing the inner core of this star. And that's it. We're not seeing anything else in here, because this stuff, the oxygen, right, and the hydrogen, this is all stuff that the star was made with. All right. And so now this stuff is being pushed away by this very, very hot star in here right there. And that's the Wolf-Rayet star right there. Star Traveler says, wow, that's looking amazing. It just came into view for me. Oh, very cool. Are you looking at it too? And Michael Hedrick asked a question. Can you talk about time for dust dispersion when Betelgeuse goes? I'm not sure what you mean by dust dispersion, but I'll take a stab and you tell me if I got it right. When you look at Betelgeuse, as we looked at before, kind of a red star, sort of like this one. This is possibly a red giant or a red supergiant out there somewhere. Betelgeuse is making lots of dust in its outer atmosphere. And Betelgeuse is strange because its outer shape isn't round. It's actually got lobes sticking off like bubbles of very, very different areas on Betelgeuse's surface. And that's really strange, you know. And in Star Travel, yeah, there is some sulfur, yes. So sorry about that. So what happens is the dust around Betelgeuse is being pushed out into shells, and some of the more advanced studies show these shells around Betelgeuse. We actually see them, and they're very, very interesting looking shells, you know. And again, it's all has to do with the power of the interstellar winds and the fact that the star is so big in diameter that molecules of dust can form in the outer layers. Usually a star is so hot that the glowy part, the part you always see, the glowy part, that is the area where there's just plasma. That is to say, atoms without any electrons. They're all ionized and you just have plasma. Now, in a star, you can have an atom can be hot enough so that the electrons are bounced right off the atom and they don't come back for a period of time. Or you can have a star where the atoms come and go, or where the electrons come and go. That's how come we see colors like this in the sky, okay? Because this is an area where the electrons can momentarily come back into the atom, give us their colors, and then get bounced off again by the hot temperatures of the star. And that said, we see also that these objects, stars like this, are literally just a few years away ultimately from supernova. So what we're looking at is a future supernova right here. That star in the middle is going to go supernova, going to explode. I would love to be able to see it, you know. Let's see if we can color correct and get a little better view here. There we go. That's nice. All right, so what we'll do is take this and bring it up, darken things up a little bit. Yeah, that's a beautiful view of this nebula. Now, in a smaller telescope, it might not look as good as this does here. All right, and so we could do this. You can see, well, we might see sort of a bright area, and that's it. But there are a lot of other elements to this object, which you can see when you kind of start pushing the processing a little. We can also over process to see what else is hiding. You can see there's a lot hiding out here that isn't yet visible, but when we process it, we can see it. And if we invert it, you can see detail in here. Again, the areas here, the colors are kind of difficult to make out what they are, but if we do it this way, you can kind of see the beautiful spindly textures of the objects in here. Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. And then we can come down here and bring back our color, take off our over processing, and get us back to just what might be a nice looking object. Yeah. And I could take that down a little bit for a bit and show you that and let you watch that develop. So Skyter Livestream, then, what we do here is we show you these really cool objects, and they develop right before your eyes, right? We actually produce them, you know, right before your eyes. And so that's what we're doing right now. We're actually producing this beautiful nebula for you to take a look at. And when we save it, like I will do so in just a minute, it'll be available online at our server for you to go look at in just like 30 seconds. Go to skyterlive.org, scroll down, you can see the different sections we have there. We have professional curated art gallery supplier that will supply pictures that are highly processed under glass, under frames, on metal, on canvas. They're just beautiful. Our home office in Mesa, Arizona, it's in our CFO's house for our nonprofit, is an art gallery of many of the things that we do. And when we're at Contact in the Desert at the end of May into June, early June, we'll have a couple of those shots so you can see how they look. They'll be the ones on canvas. Absolutely stunning. So these objects are available from skyterlive.org. And we also have the Etsy shop, as I said. You can help us join our Patreon. You can be $5 a month or whatever, $10 a month. You don't have to be 30, 50, 100, 200. You don't have to be any of that. But if you, the farther up you go in the Patreon structure, the more of these you get in a highly processed state. So if you want to start a collection of really, really cool images, then that's the ticket to do it, right? And they're all images that you have the rights to use and do things with. Our images have showed up in books that people have bought them for use in their books. They bought them for other projects they're doing. And we also have a way of up-resing them to make them, like to put them in the walls of a dentist's office or something. Like full-size wall of a nebula that we shot, you know. It just is stunning to walk into a room and just see, boom, the Orion Nebula facing you like that. Wow, you know. And it gives you something to look at if you're having your teeth drilled. Or you may hate the Orion Nebula when you leave. I don't know. Anyway, this is beautiful. Let's see how many we've got here. I see that we have 15 stacked up. That's good. I will save this and then save it as seen. So we're saving it like this. The wind's affected it a little bit. There's a tiny bit of drag out imaging here, but it's okay. It looks pretty good. Nice. Let's do a color correction. Let's yeah, there we go. That's the color. Now you can see the oxygen color very well. That's the color of oxygen that's ionized, doubly ionized right there. Yeah. And Star Traveler pointed out that we might also see sulfur is also red, and so we might see sulfur as well as hydrogen. And there's a lot more in here than just oxygen and hydrogen and most likely sulfur. There's an awful lot. You know, Nerd Farm Astro says, can you go to M78 next? Yeah, I had M78 in here at first when we first started. And I didn't like how low Orion was, so I went on to something else. But yeah, we might be able to do that one and make that the last object. It's 12:15 my time here in Connecticut. It's actually 10:16 out in the desert where this is. Okay, we have 17 here. Let's save this. Thor's helmet. I don't think I saved this. I'm going to save it with annotations. I like being able to annotate. Just beautiful. We'll go 18. And we'll save it. Save exactly as seen. M78 is massive in this scope, so it's gonna take a lot of the sensor. That was where it was. Okay, let's go. Measure 78's over this away. Okay, there it is. It's called the Casper the Friendly Ghost Nebula. Measure 78, and I'm not going to go to the location that it says to go to, because this is a very interesting location as well. So you either have this side or this side. So I'm going to go to this side. All right, initially, and you see how big that is. Why is it not doing it? Oh, it did it. I'm sorry, I missed it. Okay. All right, so let's go there. And we'll see there's a characteristic set of stars there. So you watch the telescope move. You'll hear the guider complain. All right. There goes the telescope. It's going way up high in the sky because we're actually at that location. I think those stars indicate where we are. I'm going to do a 10-second shot. And the 10-second shot is to verify our location. Yep, there it is. Okay, so then I will bring us down to the 1 second. And now bring that down into the view. This is Casper the Friendly Ghost. I'll be honest, I never saw Casper in this, but okay. I'll move that over. I think that right there should be just about good. All right, now let's go get our guide stars, man. Give me a photo. All right, there's a lot of dust in this region, so and give me a guide star. Okay, we got a guide star. Let me just darken it up a bit so the stars stand out a little more. Yeah, this is gonna be a tough guide, but we'll get it. Okay, now we're gonna do a 40-second shot, 40-second stack. All right. And I'll just type in the name up here. I'll just say M78 Casper. The Friendly Ghost. There we go. And let's get our stack going. And let's see how it looks. And yeah, well, Doesn't look like that. It looks like this. There we go. All right. Now this section of the Casper the Friendly Ghost has a reflection nebula, which is this beautiful blue section right here. And it's a section of the nebula. I gotta pull our black level back to take it over the peak so we actually don't lose data. There we go. And now, as we get more data, we'll be able to do more stuff. You'll see dark nebulae showing up in here, dark streaks, just like in the rosette. It'll take a little more time, but it will show very well. And Nerd Farm Astro saying, get the dark stuff. Yeah, that's why the 40-second exposure. You asked for it, you got it. We do take new requests, as you can see. What was the distance again, Mark? Sally says, between you and the telescopes? 2,600 miles. Yep. Look at that. 3 shots, and we're starting to see this beautiful filamentary detail in here. This is all dust, by the way. Everything in here is dust. That's why it looks the way it does. Let me, yeah, and it's reflection nebula, so it's going to be kind of a bluish cast. And it'll start to resolve itself in a little bit. We need a few more images. Nerd Farm, one of the things too is our wide field system is f1.8, okay, and it's a 10-inch system. So at f1.8, we capture this nebula in just seconds, with way more detail, including all the dark nebula, in like 12 seconds at the most. And I'll typically take 25-second shots of this nebula with that. We're doing double that now, and we have this telescope's running at f6. You'll notice, remember I talked about the orange stars? See these orange stars in here? Okay. Now you might say, well, are all those stars actually red stars? Well, they could be, but in all likelihood, they're sitting deep in the dust. And so when their light is coming to us through all this dust, a star that might be white or yellow, okay, is going to be reddened all the more because of that dust, for the same reason the sun looks red at the sunset. All right, because the dust in the nebula grabs some of the light, and it takes the blue and sends it out in all directions, and hence this bluish color, and lets the red through with is what's left. And so the stars will tend to look redder. It's interstellar extinction and interstellar reddening, actually. Star Traveler asked, do you image all night? Only if I feel like punishing myself. It's hard to image all night, actually. Because I got to be talking all night. And it's hard to keep that up. All right, so this is the upper level. Yeah, that's looking better. Yeah. Looking good. Let's do this. Let's pull this over a little. Let's see what else is hiding in there. Over-processing. Yeah, it's This is a nebula that would benefit from like doing like 2-minute shots of and then stacking. But we'd be at 16 minutes right now for these 8 exposures, and I'm only at 5. Yeah, Star. Yeah, this is a roll-off roof. I mean, I built a roll-off roof. We built a roll-off roof observatory 220 miles from this location, west of Phoenix, out in the Sonoran Desert, and that's the one that I'll be redoing next Tuesday through the 28th to get that up and running this same way this one's running. It'll necessitate a trip down to Tucson, to Star, Arizona. Wonderful folks that are just amazing for their technology and their capability. I talked to them for about an hour the other night, or a day, just trying to get a hold of all the hardware that I need to make the conversion. Because it's a fork-mounted LX 600 10-inch SCT, Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope. So you have these forks and the tubes in the middle going up and down, and the forks go left and right. Well, those don't afford you a lot of room when you're trying to put a telescope in a building. The forks make it so that the telescope will always be a certain height, and that's a problem. So the building walls get in the way. We can't keep the walls down below the level of the telescope because it'll stick up into the ceiling. So we can't do that. Yeah. So that said, one of the things that I'm going to do is take it off the forks. And again, it's running at f1.8, so it's a very fast photographic system. It's running 25 times or so faster than typical systems. And but it's also a very wide field system. So when we look at things like the Orion Nebula, we see the Orion Nebula, we see the Running Man Nebula above it, we see a little above and below each. It's a big, giant field of view. It's really impressive. But we can't zoom in all the way and see detail like we can see with this telescope. So that's a wide field system. This is a narrow field system. And usually I have them both running at night, and people in the chat will tell you so. And I show you this object as seen by this telescope, and I show you this object as seen by the other one at the same time. We go back and forth between them, and I can switch back and forth between them and show you instantly what's going on. Really pretty. Let's do this. Yeah, you can see this beautiful object developing here. Thin line of this dark stuff here. We can bring this in a little more now. Yeah. You can see that some of it looks sort of brown. It is. Those are silicates, silicon-based compounds. Silicon is made in the hearts of stars. Interesting thing about silicon. In the fusion process, silicon is made for literally in a star before it goes supernova. Silicon is made for 1 day. So all the silicon we have on Earth, in the universe, all throughout the universe, comes from just 1 day of silicon production in that individual star that then blew up. So that's a lot of supernovae. It's a lot of supernovae. I mean, is that set in stone? No, it can be 1 day, 1.5 days, or whatever. But it's definitely not more than that. Silicon is actually an element that is created very quickly in a star, and it basically is the last thing that the star does before it goes supernova. which is kind of cool, isn't it? Just thinking about it. Here we go. Okay. Oh. All right, we got 16 images here. All right. As we speak, I'm getting stuff ready when I leave. I'm also putting a new microcomputer. It's going to be a mini computer. Right now, the telescope running this system out in Benson is this big. It's a little tiny brick mini computer. I found that they work very, very well. You know, Nerd Farm says, oh yes, for Star Travel, he says, yeah, use the scheduler. Yeah, that was a Sequence Data Pro SDP. Is it SDP? I'm aware of it. Yeah, I don't do sequences, and the thing that's interesting is that you must maybe using Nina, okay, to do the scheduling stuff. Star Traveler, I'm not sure, but interesting stuff. When you look at this from a different perspective, I'm doing public outreach in astronomy as a professional astronomer. This is where I went. So what I do is I take images that people can digest and enjoy right away. If I did scheduling, well, it's unattended, and as much as that'd be cool, I want to attend the telescope. I want to see what's going on. I don't believe in leaving hardware unattended because things go wrong. And so as good a system as it can be, it can also go wrong, and I don't want to go wrong. So I tend to stick it out. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna stay up all night to do it. You know, that's just me. Now, Nerd Farm says, it's like you read my mind. I was wondering, what is this imaging train? I run at f2.9 on 300 millimeter Newtonian with the 2600 in Bortle 2 to 3 skies. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful sky. These 40-second explosions are with the f6. Yes, they are. With the f1.8, oh my gosh, it's a no-brainer. This whole nebula comes out in no time. It's really beautiful. Fantasy says Raspberry Pi. I'm trying to figure out where the Raspberry Pi comment. Well, let's see. Yeah, you'd need a lot more limit sensors to trust unattended. Yes, of course. It's a very important thing if you're going to do unattended work to cover all your bases. You got to cover every single eventuality that something will go wrong, and you got to do it from that perspective. Something will go wrong, and I do. I use the Raspberry Pi to make my all-sky camera. Yeah. Oh, the PC that Fantasy's asking about. He says, a Raspberry Pi when you reference the PC. No, that's actually a mini computer. I'm actually using an AMD chipset, it's called. For those that don't know computers, that's just a basically the core chipset that runs the computer, the core chips. I chose an AMD system, and I chose a mini computer, so it's a very tiny brick. And I usually build my own computers. I'm sitting at the one in the bunker where I do this from. I built this computer, and so forth, because no computer does everything that you want it to do. Fantasy knows. Fantasy builds computers too, I think. So the thing that's interesting, well, okay, Lori at LDP is going to bed. I don't blame you. It's late. Lori, thank you for attending, and good night. make sure you subscribe. Okay. So, Nerd Astro, to go back to what you were saying, I have a filter wheel in here too, and if you look here on the screen, over here I have a filter wheel. I have a Radian filter wheel, which is sort of like a narrow band pass filter wheel. I have a UHCS filter. I have the SA100, which is just a grating, so I can show people the spectra of the stars. I have a dark frame capturing one where it's just no filter. It's just a black screen, and then open to just look at the regular sky. Now, when we get the spectrograph, I might be looking at getting a turret end for the telescope and putting the spectrograph on that. And then when we do that, this will automatically be set to open, and then the spectrograph will rotate into position, and then we can do that. But if in the absence of that, a much simpler solution, which I may do, is to just piggyback another telescope on the back of this and put our spectrograph on that. And the purpose of the spectrograph is to, for instance, take a look at this nebula, look at its spectrum, and tell you exactly what it's made of. All the elements that you see in there, we'll be able to know exactly what it's made of. This is really important. This is the kind of stuff that the dreams are made of. No, this is the kind of stuff that a nebula are made of, and we want to see what it is. So now you can kind of see that there's a lot of stuff going on here. This is all dust, like I told you. All right. Yeah. It's still too green. That's more like it. JSCO says, massive stars 8 to 11 times mass than the sun. Silicon is produced as a byproduct of nuclear fusion. That's correct. During the final stages. That's right. And that silicon, generally, that production of silicon is, like I said, about 1 day. And then it blows up. Now, how do I know all that? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one is when I was getting my degree in astronomy, one of the things we had to do was build a star, a functional star, computationally. And so I built a star that was not a 10 or 30 mass star of our sun, but just sort of like a sun-like star. And I compared all the processes going on in my quote-unquote star and all the ones going on in the heavier stars and in the cooler stars, the more massive stars and the less massive. And we saw that by changing a few parameters, you can kind of turn your star into a different type of star. And so I was able to figure out that the very massive stars would fuse silicon or fuse into silicon, and that process only lasted about a day. Well, further research and study by other astronomers and astrophysicists shows that indeed silicon only starts fusing and appearing for about a day before the star goes supernova. The supernova is an interesting moment in the star's end of life. What happens in the star is very complex, and I won't go through everything, but I will give you some idea what's going on, and then we'll call it quits for tonight. But in the star, when silicon's being produced in a big massive star, the star is going to go supernova. Now, before it goes supernova, as it's going supernova, there's a set of processes that release an extremely high flux or flow of neutrinos. Okay? And neutrinos are amazing high-speed objects that are not stopped by much of anything. There's millions or billions traveling through you right now. They are not stopped by the atmosphere. They're not stopped by the Earth. The people on the other side of the Earth are getting pelted by the neutrinos that are going through us right now. Okay. So that said, the neutrinos make it out of the star relatively quickly before the actual physical material boils out from the interior as a supernova is underway. It's a good thing this is the last object because my voice is going. Okay, so the neutrinos reach us first, and in a star like Betelgeuse, which is massive, once the neutrinos get to us or leave the star, the physical explosion is underway beneath, and it might take hours for that rippling explosive energy to go out to like the diameter of Jupiter's orbit, which is how big Betelgeuse is. But it takes the time it takes for light to get out, and neutrinos are traveling at the speed of light, is a lot faster. So the matter is much slower by comparison. So what happens is, if we see a burst of neutrinos in our neutrino traps that we have around the planet, everybody will turn their telescopes in the direction and try to find the supernova that's underway, because the neutrinos come first, and then we see the disruption of the surface of the star when that explosive energy reaches the surface and obliterates the star. So if you're a star and you feel a sudden burst of neutrinos, your life's about to end. That's what's pretty cool about stars, you know. So that's sort of a nutshell about neutrinos. Okay, I've got 33 here. We're going to save it. As I said, this image requires longer exposure, but why not? I wanted to do it because it was a request from our buddy Nerd Astro. All right. Well, there we go. This was a great night. Just in time for my voice to go, but we're good. And Fantasy says I'm typing on a PC I built myself too. Yeah. Yeah, I do the same thing. Not bad. Okay. Let me make sure I didn't miss any good questions. Jazzio's already saying goodnight. Yeah, okay, goodnight. Okay, Nerd Farm says, are your roll-offs on V-Tracks, garage tracks, or garage tracks with rollers? I actually made very simple ones. First of all, this one is V-Tracks. Okay, the one above. But the one out in the desert, it's been running, the observatory has been running flawlessly for years. And it's a horizontal garage door. I just used a regular garage door opener, and I'm moving it off horizontally. You don't need springs or anything like that. And the mechanism's outside. You know, that's to say the take-up roller and the mechanism for the door and chain and all that. So that's pretty cool. And then what I did was I wrote software. I wrote this program. And this program is one that will open and close, turn on power, do housekeeping. It also has some bells and whistles for actually securing a cover to the telescope and taking the cover off. I have stepper motors, which will allow me to nudge things closer, nudge things farther, and stuff. And that's for the Sonoran system. However, I discovered I don't need that with the Sonoran system, because the building is buttoned up pretty tight and we don't get any dust in there. Similar, we don't get any dust in this one too badly, although the Benson dust is worse than the Sonoran dust. It's just not as bad. All right. Okay, so I'm going to save this right here, and since you want to see, I'll close up here with you so you can actually watch. So here we go, and we're gonna park the scope here in just a second. And what I'll do is I will turn on Well, first let me look and see if he's still going. Yeah, he is. Oh, he's going. He's looking at a different place. So I can use my infrared lights to. The infrared lights are seen by the telescope cameras, by the way. So as a courtesy, I do not use them when other cameras are active. But right now, because of the fact that what do I do here? Oh, yeah, here we are. There we go. So now you can see the infrared light. You can see how it's really bright. That is the camera inside the building, but this is the camera outside the building. And what I'll do is I will make this whole thing a little bigger. All right, so you can see the entire area. And I'm not going to look at the other observatory right now. And here's what I'll do. I'm going to bring this up and make sure that's right. That's going to be up there. And then I'm going to park the telescope. First things first, I'm going to get rid of these guys because I don't need them. I'll bring up the main panel. Okay, and now we'll say park, and telescope goes and parks. All right, and you can't hear it, but I can. Oh yes, forgot about that. Okay, there is the business end. Got the filter wheel here, and some more equipment, and we got the 533 camera there. We have our own Starlink. We have our own internet. That I want to keep because the mountain was without internet just for the last several days, but we were good. Okay, so here's our park position. Here's our roof. You can see that the roof is obviously all set. So now I'm just going to disconnect this. All right, and I will now shut off power to the building. Power shut off, and I can now shut the roof. Now that you can probably hear. Here we go. There we are. And there we are. So now we are effectively all done. I just need to shut down a couple of programs and we're going to be all set. So thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with us tonight. And I will make sure that we do this again sometime soon. Hope you had a good time. I had a great time. And hopefully you guys can join us again for the next time. So you guys have a good night, and we'll see you on the flip side. Woohoo! Bye bye, everybody.
Stars so bright in the sky, on Arizona nights they fly. Nebulae in colors rare, galaxies beyond compare. Sky tour in the night so clear, brings the universe near. Real-time wonders to see, streaming light for you and me. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new. In the dark, the night unfolds, stories of the cosmos told. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Far away, up so high, across the stars beyond the skull. distant dream. Live it real, like a gleam. Lift your eye up so high, across the stars beyond the sky. Sky Tour shows us the way, every night a new display. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky Tours bringing the views, every night feels brand new. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky Tours bringing the view,